Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Authentic Conversations presented by Transition Clarity. I'm your host, Adele Bernard, and today I'm honored to have Annette Mulligan, and her company is A Mulligan Speaks. Welcome to the show, Annette.
Thank you very much, Adele. I'm pleased as punch to be here.
Oh yeah. Well, so just for the viewers who are going to be checking in, this came about because we got talking about health and how health has changed. And um and I wanted to kind of go down this avenue because even in my own life, like food has been an interesting subject to say the least.
Yeah.
Right? Some
Yeah.
days I can eat things, some days I can't. Why can't you eat it today? I don't know. My body just says no, right?
Yep. Yep.
So you've been a type 1 diabetic your whole life.
Pretty much. Yep.
And so I want to do this discovery of the meaning of it, and more importantly, how you have worked with different doctors, different specialists to still be able to live on your own, even though you're legally blind, right? Which is
Yeah.
funny to say as you wear glasses, like, right?
I know.
Because you think, well, if they're blind, why do they need glasses, right? So there's the spectrum on everything, right?
Exactly.
Legally blind, unable to drive, but
Correct.
yet can still use the computer because you can see use the computer with your tools.
Yes.
So, how did a Mulligan Speaks come about? Because
I
I
love
love
that
it.
question. Yes. Well, A Mulligan came about because, gosh, back in 2019, I had shifted careers and I moved to from Southern California to Oregon area, Portland, Oregon area. And I was ready to start afresh, ready to start something new and different. And people would say to me, "Well, what do you want to do?" I always finish that. You mean when I grow up, what do I want to do? Because I don't intend to grow up. And I said, it's the funniest thing. I want to get up in front of people and teach them, train them, educate them, help
Mhm.
them to move from where they are to where they want to go. And I would get the funniest looks because most people, that would terrify them to get up in front of an audience or a microphone. And yet I knew that that's what I was created and designed to do. And initially, I started to speak about my vision loss. And I had a signature topic that was called Losing Sight, Gaining Vision. And then when the pandemic hit, not being able to get out and do my little presentation, I needed to do something different. And so I became a coach, added that to my list of hats that I wore. And then I just decided on a fluke, I'm going to write a book while I'm at it. Because why not? And that book was is called Living Beyond the Diagnosis: My Journey with Type 1 and Beyond. And so the long answer to the how did A Mulligan get started was when I was diagnosed at 2 with type 1 and told my entire life, you're going to die, you're going to die young, you will never see adulthood. This is what I grew up with.
Mhm.
And yet I kept having birthdays. So it was a very confusing time for me because I'm like, I'm still living. And yet I'm being told by all the medical professionals, I'm going to die. Now, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of physical situations, complications that I faced in and out of the hospital my entire life. And at 21, because of uncontrolled diabetes, one of the major complications called diabetic retinopathy kicked in. And that's when I began to lose my sight. And so now the doctors were adding on to it. You're going to die young. You probably won't reach adulthood, but in the meantime, you're going to go blind as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, this is not sounding good at all. And the reality was that in the 60s, 70s, 80s, when I was growing up, diabetic management did not exist. That phrase just didn't exist because doctors didn't know enough, didn't have enough information. And what information was out there was oftentimes really hard to get a hold of unless you were incredibly tenacious and we're going to go out and check out every book in the library. You were going to have a difficult time, and I did. Then after they did 11 laser surgeries on my eyes to save my vision. I am not completely blind, as you pointed out. I know people think you got glasses, you can see. Yes, I can. I can see, but I just had my checkup this a week ago, and I am 2200 in my right eye and 2300 in my left eye. That's considered legally blind. And you're taking it from the scale of 20/20. Most people, if you're 20 feet away from something, right. So I am the really, really blind people. I have a few friends that I know when I tell them I'm legally blind and I give them my numbers, they go, oh, you're just sort of blind. And I'm like you said, it's the spectrum. It depends where you are on that scale. But I finally met a doctor when I was 29, and he was an endocrinologist, and I had several other endocrinologists along the way. But again, what they were telling me was I felt like I was just getting this bare minimum of information of how to change the direction that my health was going. And I was just so frustrated. And I kept saying, there's got to be more information out there. There's got to be someone who can help me figure this out. And finally, I was at the City of Hope, and I was seeing doctors there. They had a program for those who were financially not able to see regular doctors. And I began to see this doctor, and he didn't say the words, but I always felt like he probably thought them when he saw me, when he looked at my records, when he had a conversation with me. He might have thought, wow, she's a hot mess in the way of diabetic control. And he would have been right, because I was a hot mess. And over the next, it was 18 years, I was with that doctor. He began to just slowly unpack, what does it mean to have diabetes? What does it mean to manage, not control? If you talk to a type 1, we don't usually say, oh, I can control my diabetes. You don't control it. You don't want it to control you either, but you work at managing your diabetes. And oh my goodness, I mean, from colds and flu to thyroid issue to whatever, if something would happen, I would go see him because my diabetes would be out of control. And I would say to him, even if I felt horrible at the time, I go, okay, explain to me what's happening. And he would walk me through. I felt like I had like private one-on-one classes with him. And he would explain, this is why your body is reacting this way. This is why your blood sugars are doing this.
So can you go into a little bit of that? Like why, like, say, a cold would throw your sugars off, or like?
Yeah. Well, my understanding, and not a medical professional, but my understanding.
We're just having a conversation.
I know.
Everyone is that has to do their own due diligence and find
exactly. Every when those germs get into your body, your antibodies, the things that are fighting those germs, start to unleash and go after the negative germs that are in you to try to fight them. Well, that whole process of what your body is doing to try to fight that is also, in a way, and if medical professional hears this, they're going to freak out because it's not proper, but it's in a way,
it's your journey.
Exactly. It's in a way like it's releasing sugar into your body because it's working so hard to go after those germs that it's trying to fight. And so when a cold or a flu comes along, your body is working to try to fight that, but then it's also releasing sugar. And because you don't either have enough insulin in your system to reduce the amount of sugar that's rising up in your body, that's where you can get into serious trouble. If I ever got the flu, the doctors would always tell me, don't get dehydrated, whatever you do, because that starts kind of a cascading event of if you start to throw up and you get yourself dehydrated just in that process, that's when your blood sugars can just go through the roof, and then that causes you to have more of those complications, more vomiting, and just more fluid loss, which as you know, your body has to have that fluid in order to sustain itself. Yeah. So it was always kind of a gamble, as when, I would do my best to stay well, wash my hands, make sure I was doing all the things because the normal person could get a cold and be over it in, a week, 10 days. But for me, I could end up in the hospital. And so that was always, and then that would add stress. That would add stress to the already stressed cells in my body. And so, for diabetics, type 1s especially, there has to be a balance that you can find in your life where you're not allowing the stress of the diabetes to consume you living a quote unquote normal life. Because the stress,
or normal for you, like
exactly.
Well, and that's with anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, so this, I mean, that can be like, you bumped your head or you broke your arm, or like whatever your normal is, it's been interrupted.
Right, exactly. Right? But this doctor was just amazing. He used to, it made me laugh. He used to, in the doctor's office, there's like the table that they'll have you sit on, and there's usually paper on there. And he'd go, come here, I'm going to draw you a picture. And he would draw diagrams on the paper and say, so this is what's happening with your cells here, and here's this over here. And it just was, he spoke to me in a language that I understood. He would throw out the medicalese at first, and I'd give him that look. And he'd say, okay, what that really means is, and he would break it.
And sorry to cut you off, but it was like, don't you love doctors that bring it down to the human level, and that it's like, oh, I understand that.
Yes. And he actually trained me to know how to do that with other doctors, because I found as I was having to visit different specialists for different things that were going on in my body, they would give me those big medical terms, and I'd look at them and I go, could you please break that down so that I, not a medical professional, could understand it? They give me this look and they'd go, oh yeah. But that diabetic doctor is the one, he trained me on how to talk to other doctors so that they would speak to me in a language that was easy for me to understand. It was something that I would walk out going, I have much more knowledge now of how to handle my own body, of how to improve my diabetic management, of what to do if this happens again. That was key. And it was at that time that I didn't know it then, but I was beginning to formulate what I now call my 5 principles of health, where I share with my audiences about how to be proactive and preventative in your health. Because I never had the opportunity to really be proactive and preventative when I was younger, because I didn't have the information. Once I got that information, well, yeah, but I grew up. I did grow up, but once I had that information, boy, I just locked into that, and I just kept moving forward and saying, all right, I don't have to be sick all the time. I don't have to have my diabetes out of control. I don't have to have my diabetes consuming me. Yeah. I don't have to have all these things. I can look forward and go, oh, yeah, that's what I want to do next because I can. So that's kind of how even my whole business came about.
And I think that's a key statement well, not a statement, but an offering to whether it's diabetes, whether it's heart, whether like whatever it is.
Right.
We have to be our sovereign accountability for ourselves.
Right.
Do we get outside help with doctors and friends? And absolutely.
Yep.
But if we're going to keep eating the chocolate, you kind of can't get mad at your body for saying you have too much sugar in you.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? And
Yes.
so this is interesting that we're talking about this because um recently in my own health, like I was like, okay, what is going on? Like my body's sore and it's hard to wake up. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? Because I eat a fairly clean diet, right? Like I've
Right.
stripped out just about everything. Met some nutritionists through a weird way, talking. Well, first it was I found a podcast of a doctor talking about the cells,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And why certain cells go into diabetes, go into heart failure, go into cancer, whatever. Okay. So then as I'm listening to him, he kept on talking about histamine.
Mm-hmm.
Histamine. I'm like, what the heck are histamines? So I look them up and I'm looking up histamines. I'm like, oh, they're the healing things that we need for a cold, for a cut, for a thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I have learned through now, I've met these ladies. They happen to be in my city, which was even better. And I've been working with an allergist on histamine issues for quite a few years. And their take on it is, but we're having a nut. How can that be bad? Because the nuts have histamine activated ingredients on them.
Right.
Why is the baked potato? And I know in our other conversation we talked about having the baked potato,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Why
Because
not?
the baked potato is a histamine inhibitor.
Mm-hmm.
The tomato, histamine contribute, right? So I'm like, how does histamines in our body work with diabetes, all these other things? So when you talk about you getting a cold, all those sugars go. I'm actually going to challenge you on the sugars, more on the histamines, which
Mm.
act like sugars. So your body goes, oh, she's sick. We got to, ramp up our histamine, right?
Right.
Meanwhile, you've had the baked potato or you've had the tomato that you didn't know were contributing to the histamines. Like, and to get me to not to get off topic, but our bodies need histamines because that's how it heals.
Right.
But just like too much sugar for a diabetic or the wrong foods for a diabetic, too many histamines throws the whole body off,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So I'm looking at this like correlation of disease in general, overload of histamines, and I'm like, but what's wrong with the nuts? They're supposed to be good for you. They're supposed to be healthy for you. So then I read, well, they are good for you. If you soak them overnight,
Mm.
you rinse them off, you put them in the oven, you dry them out. And I'm like, wow, that's what a nut's supposed to taste like? It was like eating sugar cubes, but way better.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm looking at this almond and this cashew, like it was the best party in my mouth that I've
Mm.
ever had. Is it a bit of work? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is it worth it? I won't eat
I would
nuts
think
again
so.
without that.
Yeah. So by doing that, you're washing off.
Your base, okay, so this is my understanding.
Okay. Yeah. Now we're gonna get, really technical here.
Yeah, because both of us aren't doctors.
That's
Do
right.
your own research.
That's right. Do your own.
Because like you, very sick as a child, couldn't figure it out. What's going on, right? Whatever my mom was doing, whatever doctor was saying, like she tried their best. And I have no fault to my parents, and I'm sure you don't have anything
Nope.
either,
Not at
right?
all.
But
Nope.
in my own research, I'm like, okay, so where's this allergy coming from? You're going back 7, 8, 9 generations,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And no fault to doctors because they could get a degree every week with all the literature that they have to
Yeah.
go through.
Yeah.
And that's in their specialty. We're
Yeah.
not even saying general. We're saying your specialty, you could get a degree every week. And so for me, I had to become my own advocate.
Yeah.
And so when I was like blaming it on COVID, like I'm not out walking enough, I'm like, why is my body hurting? And I started coming down to what are the histamines?
Mm-hmm.
And this journey is very new to me because it's only like 3 weeks, maybe,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So by soaking the nuts and drying them, like in a low oven, like 135 or whatever, low oven, you're basically taking out all the lectins,
Mm.
the lectins that throw your body into chaos,
Okay.
right? So the tomatoes, they were already out of my diet years ago because they hurt my stomach,
Oh yeah.
besides whatever else they could have done, right? So basically, they're saying the closer to live, the better,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I love sausage, salamis, whatever. Heaven forbid my body hates me when I eat them, right?
Yeah.
Because you think about it, so you get the meat for the sausage, and it gets cut, it gets ground, it gets and then it gets too far away from source.
Yeah. Right.
So the nuts are like, yeah, they get picked, but by the time they get picked, they get sent, they get
Yeah.
processed, they get right
Yeah.
too far
Right.
from source. That's where all the lectins come in. And
Mm.
it's not like they're putting poison on them,
No.
right? It's their natural state. It's like beef. These two ladies don't recommend even eating beef. And I'm like, that's not going to happen because where I live, that's all we do. We eat beef. But
That's
that's
right.
okay. I right, that's okay. But the part of the grinding, right? So here's your beef. It's hanging in the meat locker for 21 to 28 days. By the time it gets off of there, then it has to go through the grinder, then it gets made, then it gets sent out too far away from the live.
Right.
And so
Right.
they're in their research, they're saying lamb is the best meat, if not wild, depending on how good you are getting wild out,
Yeah.
because it is the fastest um, live to freezer process. It doesn't have the time to build the lectin.
Right.
And so when you think about like diabetics and heart, and you think, oh, you can't eat this, you can't eat that, which is funny about the heart because their number one thing that they give everyone is the cabbage tomato soup. I'm like, the cabbage part's good, tomato not so good.
Not so much.
Right? Right? Because it puts a whole new perspective on it. I mean, I
Yeah.
love the cabbage soup. Don't get me wrong. I love the cabbage soup, but I don't put all the tomatoes in. I just
Yeah.
put the juice, right?
Yeah.
Because too much, then I'm sneezing. I got itchy ears, and I'm like, what's going on? And like you find these good doctors, and you like you're heartbroken when they leave or they
Yes.
retire right? Because
Yeah.
they've been in your pocket for so long. And so,
Right.
and I remember my doctor saying, I don't get it. You're too old to have ear infections. I go, do you want to tell my ears that?
Yeah.
Now I know it's histamines.
Right.
Instead of getting congested here, it instantly goes into my ears.
Right. Right. And that's in an interesting aspect too. I don't remember if I actually, I think a doctor or someone did mention this. Like when I get sick, it goes from my, oddly enough, my lower back is where I begin to have aches and pains, or in my shoulder, right around my neck. And I would say to my doctor, I mean, I'm not feeling well. I don't know if it's yet a cold or a flu or what. I could just feel it coming on, but immediately, my lower back, and he said to me, "Did you ever have an injury there?" I said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, 30 years ago." And he's going, he said, it's kind of like your weakest link in your body. If you've had an injury, he said, it doesn't always work that way. But for me, it's kind of a signal, because I'm like, lower back, didn't do anything to hurt it, maybe coming down with something. And so I can be a little bit more, okay, take care of yourself, start drinking more
Okay.
fluids, start doing that. But that's kind of an indicator. I think our bodies are talking to us all the time. And the question is, number one, do
Are
we
we
know what
listening?
they're saying? And number two, are we listening? I think it takes both of those to be able to.
And I'm gonna further to what the doctor said. What is the emotion getting stuck from the injury?
Mm,
Because something like say it's sadness, right? So something's triggered you now for sadness, and it's going, oh, I know that pain. Boom, your lower back starts hurting.
could be.
Meaning there's no cold coming, like because this is the frustrating thing. It's like people are like, oh, I'm so sick of getting sick. And I'm like, well, why don't you bless your body and say thank you for getting rid of toxins, giving you the rest that you wouldn't give yourself, because it's been saying you're kind of burning the candle at five ends, like we're going to shut you down soon. And you
Yeah.
keep on going, no, I can't, I don't have time, I don't have. And boom, you get shut down. You're done. 2 weeks.
Yep.
Could you afford to do that? No.
No.
But if you just a month earlier taken a day or an afternoon and took a coffee or whatever, went and sat in the park, put your feet up and go, oh, right? You wouldn't have
Yep.
gotten sick because your body is naturally always getting rid of toxins,
Yep.
right? But
Yep.
I mean, this histamine thing was just like over the top for me because I was like, I I do everything right. Like I eat so clean, except every salad had ground turkey or ground beef.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dang it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like
You know
I
what?
knew to keep the tomatoes off. I knew to keep
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
And now
don't
there's
eat
another.
yeah, I don't eat white potatoes maybe 4 or 5 times a year,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah. There's another thing that you'd said earlier, which has really been intriguing to me, and I've kind of been listening to, a few more talks and finding a little bit of information. But it's all about, how it really does come down to the cellular level.
Absolutely.
Every single thing that happens to us, or is happening to us, or will happen to us, it starts down at that cellular level. And I don't remember if I told you about this, but a couple of months ago I had a person I was talking to, and she just was kind of just saying, oh yeah, I have type 2, but I don't want to give up eating, my sweets. And I'm like, okay.
Well, and that's been a huge thing for me of I honor where you are.
Right.
I only ask the same in return.
Yeah. The issue was, she said that was for her, but she goes, my husband, I can't figure out what's happening with him. And I said, tell me more. And she said he was over 300 pounds like 2.5 years ago. He got type 2. The doctor said he had a heart condition. He had this, he had that. And the doctor said, you need to lose weight. He dropped down to about 180 pounds. And she said, he feels great. He's active. He's busy. his blood sugars are still out of control. They have him on 2, 3 different types of oral medications, and they're telling him that they're probably going to have to put him on insulin. And she looks at me and she goes, how can that be? How can he have done everything that he was supposed to do? And yet his blood sugars.
They don't know.
Right. And I said,
and my belief is big pharma is keeping us sick.
Well, I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But I said to her, and I said it, and I wasn't as aware of what I knew at the time, because now I've done a little bit more research and I'm like, wow, I don't know where I pulled that out of. But I said to her, because it starts at a cellular level. I said, it's not about as much about out here. It is to some degree, but he made all of these changes, which were wonderful. That was fantastic. But I said, damage was probably already done at that cellular level, that no matter what changes he made, his cells have still been damaged. And so they're not responding. And I'm not a huge fan of oral diabetic medicine, because I don't think it's good at all. But that's just my opinion. So I don't know what's happened. I haven't had a chance to talk to her, but
and it's also like from this podcast with this doctor, he was saying, like, so he started testing all his family, right? The immediate family, the cousins, going out. And he said it was fascinating to him, because he says usually a family gene will have the same cells. He says they didn't. His family of 4 did not have any cell. Like, one had traces of diabetes, one had traces of heart disease, one, and he's like, like they know they're the same family, but the genes, the cells weren't saying that.
Interesting.
So then I go back to, well, how many lifetimes do you have to go back to figure this out, right? Because I'm the same as like the gentleman, because I was like, I followed my doctors, right? On my own, I've done a lot of cleansing, a lot of clearing, and I'm like, something's still missing.
Right.
What am I missing? So now I'm like, is it the histamines? Is it the lectins in it? I don't know. Right? And then all of a sudden it's like say vitamins, right? That you've been on for years. You're coming to the end of the bottle. Oh, you put it in a note to go get some more. Nope. No. Nope. Don't need them. Don't use them. I go different brand. Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you can be on vitamins and need them all these years, and then all of a sudden you don't need them.
I think it's, because you're making changes in your body that
Yeah.
are more natural.
And to that gentleman, like, I've heard too that, yeah, you might have dropped the 100 pounds or 150, whatever, right? Because, I've done that as well. But the cells, your body, everything is waking up to the fact, whoa, he's done some changes.
Yeah.
We got to catch up to the change.
Right. Right.
Right. Because I'm sure and I know, like, oh, the ads were just like, if you just work on your health and your lifestyle, and you don't have to. And it's like, okay, well, maybe if you didn't put us on everything.
Yeah.
Maybe if you didn't shove 50 pills at us every time we said boo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then I knew a doctor that I loved to death. He's the most beautiful man ever. And I was just like, how? Like, he used walking sticks. And I said, I don't get it. And he says, because when I became a doctor, we didn't know what we know now about the thyroid.
Right.
He was 22 years old in a wheelchair.
Wow.
And he started figuring out what happened. And he realized it was the thyroid.
Yeah.
And worked on his practice of the thyroid. What does the thyroid? And that's how I learned that the thyroid is the master organ between your brain and your body. So if the
Right.
thyroid doesn't work,
Yep.
your body's not working.
That is no joke. I had a, gosh, I think I was in my early 30s, and I had a ruptured ovarian cyst, and so had emergency surgery. About a month later, I start noticing these symptoms that I had never had. I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I had all this kind of energy. And I was just kind of like, and I walked into my doctor's office, my endocrinologist, and he's like, "How are you?" "I'm fine." And I told him, "I've just got all this energy and I'm talking fast and all this." And he goes, "Hold out your hands." And I go, "What?" He goes, "Hold your hands out, like palms down, hold out your hands." And I did, and I couldn't see anything. He takes a paper towel and he lays it over the top of my hand, and the paper towel was going like this. I was just like a raw nerve
Vibrating.
and jittery. And he said, "I think we need to check your thyroid levels." Well, they were off the charts. And he said, "I think that surgery you had may have caused this." And so we had to go through
Oh,
this.
because all the energy was going to the cyst.
Right. And again, being a diabetic, this is their phrase. Well, it's common in diabetics, which I've grown to hate that phrase, but also to just go, yeah, yeah, fine, whatever. Tell me what I need to do or help me figure out how to, to fix this or deal with it. It took at least 6 months for me to figure. Well, so we had to, what did we do? I didn't want to do surgery again. Oh, I know, he put me on a medication to adjust the thyroid levels. I had an allergic reaction to it first. Oh my gosh, horrible reaction. He goes, "That is like the only medication there is. The other medications are all stemmed from that one." So he said, "We need to remove your thyroid." And I'm like, "Great. I don't want surgery again." So we had to radioactively nuke my thyroid. That was fun.
Wait, that's not true. Anyways, but well, I'm not a doctor, but I'm saying there's the desiccate, which is from pigs, or the synthroid that they make.
This was not either one of those. This was because I had high thyroid, and whatever the medication that he had
Oh,
given me to reduce the thyroid level.
okay.
There was only, I think, one other, he said, and they both come from the same systemic organism. So I was going to have the same reaction because my body it just did not like this. So we radioactively nuked my thyroid. And then, so my levels are up here, way, way high. I'm, jittery, having, my heart's pounding like crazy, got so much energy. And now we've just removed the thyroid, removed it completely. And I do this 3 months of boom. And I would go see him every month and we'd check my levels. And he goes, "Yep, here's what has to happen." He said, "We have to get your thyroid level down to a place where we can then start to supplement it
Yep.
with the fake, as I call it, the fake thyroid medication." But he said, if I give it to you too soon, you're going to still have those really horrible reactions, super high thyroid. So it took like 6 months. And oh my
Wow.
gosh, I learned what you just said as truth, that thyroid just governs everything that happens in your body. And when you mess with it or it messes with you, it was not a fun trip at all. And I tell people when they're sharing with me either symptoms, different things, my first thing is, "Have you had your thyroid checked?" And don't just let them do there's two different tests.
So
The
you need
T,
the T3, the T4, and the free.
yes. I said, "Make sure that they do all three." And they're like, "Well, they did the one and it was fine." And I said, "No, don't settle for that." I said, there's a total of three of them and you have to get them all checked
Yeah.
before they can discover that. But that was, yeah, that was
Well,
not
and even in the body energy work that I've taken years ago, when you think about everything your brain is telling has to go through the controller
Right.
and then down to say move the finger, move your arm. And then your arm goes, oh, did I get a pulse? Okay, I'm going to send it all the way up, back through the controller, and
Right.
go, oh, okay, move arm. So when you think of our bodies, they're amazing.
Oh, they are. They
Right?
are.
But I am getting tired of people saying, well, my doctor says it's just a side effect of diabetes. No, they have to start digging.
Right.
They have to go back to the labs because that is an untruth in my book.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's you said it earlier on, and I wanted to mention it, but about the idea of being your own advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I mean, that again is what that first, or not my first, but the endocrinologist who I say he turned my world upside down in a good way.
Yep.
What he taught me is, he said, here, this is the information I'm giving you, but you want, number one, have to choose to whether you're going to apply it, whether you're going to accept it, whether you're going to apply it, whether you're going to make it a part of your life. But he said, after that, you've got to be able to figure out then when things start going wrong, where can you go besides him, but where can you go to figure out, well, what else can I do? What are some other resources I might tap into? What are some different things that I can look into? And I mean, he didn't say it in that many words, but he taught me that idea. You have to be your
Well,
own advocate. You have to
and I
ask questions.
and I truly believe that's why I got into healing
Sure.
because I was my first patient,
Yep, exactly.
right? Because
Exactly.
and just let the viewers know, um, Canada's medical is totally different. I don't have to worry about a copay or how much money. If I need something, I walk in, done,
Wow. Yeah.
right? And the doctor that I've just lost,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say lost, she moved. So she's still around. Someone
That's
I'm
right. She's
happily
still
having
alive.
her, right?
Yeah.
But as a family doctor, like I would come in with crazy rabbit holes, and I knew I'm like, just bear with me, and she'd be like, okay, and I'm like, hey, and I'd start down these rabbit holes, no questions asked. Okay, we'll send you for this test. Okay, we'll send you for that test. I'm like, I love you, like, because she would follow my rabbit holes, and then she'd go, well, I'm glad that we checked out the rabbit hole isn't reading what you're thinking. I'm going,
Right.
me too, right? But then on the other hand, it's like, well, for instance, I had a reaction to histamine just before Christmas, and I went to the doctor because the call-in said get to the doctor, and I see a different doctor, my doctor,
No.
right? Well, I don't know who my new doctor is, to be
Right.
honest. I don't know who she is. I have a name, but I haven't seen her because I don't get
Right.
sick. And so, um, and so I get this doctor, and I'm like, oh, he's my kind of doctor. Without saying a word, he hasn't said a word. He had two healing bracelets on his wrist.
Yeah.
My kind of doctor. And basically, um, I whatever whether it's eating, whether it's the cold, whatever, my body was literally pushing out hives because something got in it
Right.
did not like,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so and it, like so this happened like say I ate it at supper. So all night I'm up with like getting worse and worse and worse. By 6 in the morning, I'm like calling the medical, going, "Oh my gosh, like what the heck?" And they're like, "Go straight to your doctor's." I go, "Okay." So I show up at my doctor's. It's not a walking clinic. I go, but my doctor works here. Well, not today. And I go, they told me to come here.
Yeah.
And so I go into the doctor and I go, that front staff. And he goes, we know. I go, right. So obviously I'm not the first one, right?
Right.
And he's just like, you're having you're having a histamine reaction. And I'm like, what's that?
mm.
Right? Didn't it
Yeah.
didn't even click until like later.
Right.
And then And I said, well, yeah. I was like, do I go get the Benadryl and Claritin or do I come here? And he goes, don't take that stuff ever. And I'm like, why? And he goes, it's 80% crap.
Oh my gosh.
Come to the doctor, get the prescription.
Mm-hmm.
So he gives me this sample. And I go, oh, how many do I need to take? And he goes, one. I go, one? And meanwhile, I'm like, this is the morning that I'm supposed to be packing to go on holidays the next day for Christmas.
Gosh.
And I go, one. He goes, one, you'll be fine within the hour of taking that pill. It was
Wow.
gone. My body was relaxed. I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm going to bed. Because I was up all
Yeah,
night, right?
yeah, yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, so it's like, that's where I'm so blessed because I'm like, some of the clients I've had, I'm just like, I know our system is broken, but yours is correct.
I'm not going to
Like,
disagree with you on
no,
that.
but I mean, how many women have gone through 9 months of pregnancy and have never seen a doctor
Doctor. Yeah.
or have their baby on the side of the street because they don't know where else to go?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Yeah.
the side of humanity that just needs to leave, right?
Well, maybe.
I know, I know. I saw this homeless person today, and I was like, "Bless you, you are like just moving up on the world, right?" Because he had acquired like a wagon rather
Oh,
than
yeah.
a grocery cart. He had some good clothes on him because it's still quite wintry here,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, "Good on you, right? Like you're moving on up because we can't have the rich without the poor."
Right, right. Yeah.
Right. And it's for us to say, oh, that poor soul, we don't know what he's coming in for. We have no
Right.
idea what his life path is for.
Yeah.
He could be doing his own experiment of like, do I really need this boat and this plane and this house, and do I really like, because there was a story of a homeless man in Calgary where I live, and it turns out he wasn't truly homeless.
Hmm.
He was a tenured professor at our university who was basically fed up with the materialistic view of the world. He had a wife, 3 kids, and he says, I can't do this life anymore.
Mm.
He walked out with a few clothes, a bag, and he lives on the street
Wow.
because his mental brain said, I'm done. I can't do
Yeah.
this. Right. And then here, my girlfriend who walks her dogs all the time, she saw this one guy and she's like, in her gut, she knew he wasn't homeless, but she didn't know what his story was. Got talking to him, whatever. He kind of was kind of disoriented, but not sure. And then in her heart, she decided this man isn't homeless. Like someone's looking for him. She took him home. I'm like, as a single woman, are you joking? She goes,
Wow.
yeah, I trusted it. Like my guys were saying, he's not homeless. Someone's looking for him. So what had happened was um, he had had a brain injury. And somewhere in the transition, one of the workers didn't make it. And then he thought, well, I'll just go out for a walk.
Yeah.
We got lost, right? He was out on the streets for just over a month.
Mm.
And she had met him, I think, a week or so in. And then out of the blue, near the end, he came and knocked on her door. And he says, you're the only resemblance of life I know, but I know I'm not supposed to be on the street.
Mm.
And through trial and error, they did find a number that he remembered, and it was the son.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah. And so like, you know, like, so it's all about the humanity, right? And I know we went totally off topic,
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
all part of, don't keep on telling us it's part of diabetes.
Yeah.
Or don't just say, well, this is a sign of stroke. Or don't just say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Right.
You're reading textbooks, you're getting people's opinions of what they put in the textbooks.
Right. Right.
And I'm saying we need more of those doctors that we've had that have said, okay, we're gonna slow it down. We're gonna write on the piece of paper on the bed and we're
Yeah.
gonna explain it because we're
Right.
human explaining it to another human. And as advocates for our own health, we have to start demanding
Yeah.
or asking kindly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got correct.
Yeah, that's okay. It was interesting because last night I was listening to something. It was a reel of that I heard, and this guy is a doctor. He said, I'm a medical a GP," and he said, "And I have to tell you, what I am doing right now is not what I wanted to get into." And he used a phrase, and I remember it, but he said, "We're not doing healthcare, we're doing death care."
Yep.
Because he said, we're not teaching people how to live preventatively or proactively. We're basically waiting until they get sick enough, and then we start throwing medications at them. And then that doesn't fix the problem. It only gets worse. And then basically we're putting them on a death watch. And I could, whether this was true or not, it was
Well,
ringing in my head because I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I mean, he was saying what I think you and I are saying.
well, but I've heard of old folks homes renamed as death camps.
Mm,
They're just fancier than Auschwitz,
yeah, yeah. But he was
right?
pretty adamant about that idea that
Yeah.
says the medical field today. And I mean, bless their hearts, I know there are people in there who
Oh,
who
they're trying.
they are
They're
just
trying.
trying so hard, and some of them are doing a fantastic job. And I'm alive today because of the the grace of God to get to the right doctors and to have the right care to get me to where I am now. And I am so thankful for that. But I've also talked with a number of doctors who have either left the profession completely because they said they are forced between pharmacy and insurance companies to provide the least amount of care that they can for their patients, and they watch their patients just struggling like mad, and
Trying
they
to
don't
push
have
the
the
pharma. Yeah.
yeah, and they don't have the time, and they're supposed to throw this at them and they can't do that. And so I get it, but there are those who are doing a fantastic job, and I'm so grateful for them. I currently have an endocrinologist who she's so funny because we kind of come into we're doing video call now because we started during COVID, and there's really no reason for me to have to go in to see her, and it was quite a drive for me. But we have these conversations about this, that, and the next thing for the beginning of our time together. She's kind of like, so what's on your mind? Anything goes. And I'll talk to her about it, and then she'll go, oh, I guess we should address where you are with your diabetes, right? I go, and I've already gotten my test results back, so I already know where I am. And she goes, everything looks good, don't change it, I'll see you in 3 months. And those are the kind of appointments that I would love for more people to have, for
Yeah.
more, just diabetics, regular, I don't care who, but the kind of appointment where you can carry on a conversation with your doctor, you can chat about what's happening, and then take a look and go, yeah, it all looks good, okay,
Well,
fantastic job.
and I've been in lots of doctors' offices that have a sign only one issue at a time per visit. And I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
pardon?
Yeah.
Well, we're
Because
just we're just so busy. But
yeah.
their fees have gone up too. Like they're being charged so much to run a practice. And I'm like,
Right.
ah,
Right.
like it's just such a broken system all the way around.
It is. It is. And there is no perfect answer to it. But it is
Well, and
what it
then so
is.
here's another like um with this histamine thing. If potatoes are so bad, right? And histamines might be the counteractive of sugar, right? It's actually not the chocolate bar that's killing people. It's the potato chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, huh, let's try that one on for size.
What's your doctor
Right?
say about that theory?
No, I haven't talked to them.
Okay.
I'm just like I all of a sudden I saw this vision of like a reel when they're lighting the potato chip on
Oh
fire.
yeah. Yeah. Oh
Right.
gosh.
And there's one of like one, I don't know what they're like, a crunchy a tostito something. I don't know, I don't eat them. But
Right.
they say, oh no, you always have to take a bag camping. And I go, pardon? They said the best fire starters ever. You don't eat
Oh
them.
my gosh.
They're the
Oh
best fire starters,
my
and
fire
people are
start.
eating this in their body.
Yeah. 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 I have a friend who says that any processed food is basically poison food that you're just forcing your immune system to have to deal with, and your immune system is like, no.
I know, but I mean, I don't think nuts are processed until I learned that
No,
you have to soak them.
right. But they
Okay,
do
so
go through a
they're
process. I mean, from picking them off the tree to getting them into the bag, things happen.
I know, but
And
I'm like, but I was like, well, like that was my afternoon snack. Would
right.
I would take a few nuts until I'm like, my mouth is on fire.
Wow.
And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
The lectins in the nuts, right?
I can see you heading off into a whole nother direction now.
Oh,
Adele's got another pathway.
I have so many rabbit holes. Just depend. Like the call before this was like we were going way out another way, but it's all good. I'm
Yeah.
like um, I know I'm here to be the light and the way shower, and the world is changing very very fast,
Yeah.
and it's a matter of who wants to choose to become awake, to become an advocate of self,
Right.
and to take full 100% responsibility for self.
Right. Right.
And this is a message I'm trying to get to parents more than anybody, because even a 2 year old or a 5 year old has to take responsibility for self.
Right.
And back to the eating, right? Like a 2 year old will know apple or banana. One day they're going to say apple, one day they're going to say banana, one day they're going to say none. Honor their choices because they're
Mm.
listening to their bodies better than we have ever.
Mm.
And they are miraculous to watch.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Right? Because my little grandniece, she had asked me, she's like, Auntie, apple? I go, yeah, sure. But of course, we have like the whole family in the house for Christmas. So Auntie gets sidetracked very easy. This little girl, 2 years old, comes up to me and maybe an hour later, and I'm in the kitchen this time. Last time she asked me in the living room. This time at least I'm in the kitchen. And she goes, Auntie, and I go, yes, sweetheart. And she goes, apple? I go, oh, I am so sorry. Auntie forgot. That's okay.
Oh my God.
So I give her apple. And luckily, because I'm a planner, I prepared the apples ahead of time.
Oh,
So when she wants an apple, she wants the whole apple. She can eat the whole apple.
yeah.
I give her piece.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
she knew her body was wanting some apple.
Right. Right.
Right? I
Yep.
didn't discount her thing. I went, my thing.
Yeah.
Too many rabbit holes I can go on from the living room to the kitchen. I'm so sorry. Right? But
Oh
she
my God.
wasn't giving me the guilt.
No, no,
She was
no, no.
just like, apple.
Apple? That's sweet. That's a sweet story.
And so yeah, and so it's just like I'm just looking at how many ways we can honor our bodies, slow down enough to listen to what they're saying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we are here for a reason,
Absolutely.
and it's definitely not to be sick,
No. No.
right?
No. It
And
is
we
not.
and we meet who we meet on our journey as we share our information. You know, maybe I should go look that up.
Yeah.
Not on Google, but maybe right? Or talk to a new doctor, or
Right. Right.
find a new nutritionist to see what they're saying, right? Because this
Yeah.
histamine thing was like, it's a canyon that I didn't know was even there.
Yeah.
Like I literally walked off and went, "Whoa, how did I get up here?" Right? And so yeah, so I mean, um, it's making me look at all foods differently.
Right.
How the cells work differently, how like even sugars, meats, like, are we becoming vegetarians? Maybe, but not the way they're farming right now.
Yeah.
Oh, and
No.
that was the other thing, was I always, when I eat salads or whatever, I'm always getting the mixed field greens, right?
Mhm.
But every once in a while there's some spinach mixed in, and I'm like, stop putting the spinach in, because my mouth goes crazy.
Wow.
No spinach on the list. It's with tomatoes.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. So, and that, no, this is what I was going to share with you. So I spent a lot of time learning how to have lemon or lime water to wake your system up. It's good to wake your system up before you put food in.
Mm.
I hate lemon or lime, but I could stomach lime. It was softer, better. No citrus whatsoever. They're all histamine active. And it's like,
Wow.
wow. So it wasn't that I had too many Chinese, like the Japanese oranges at Christmas.
Mm.
One is just too many,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When I used to drink alcohol, I used to always have pina coladas. Oh, can't have the cream, can't have the pineapple, can't have the vodka. Perfect. Wonder why I quit drinking, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you're not, and you're thinking, well, it's just my blood sugar. No, you're not supposed to eat them at all.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have histamines. Like I didn't know people kept their mouth shut while they breathe.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, I was eating all the food that I'm not supposed to eat with histamine. And I'm not saying everyone has histamine issues,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying I've worked with an allergist long enough working on histamine
Yeah.
reactions. She'll bring everything happening into the body into an histamine starter.
Mm.
Every disease, and I said, and I follow that with, it might be started by the histamine, but it's an emotion trapped.
Yeah.
Is it this lifetime? 10 lifetimes ago, generations, who knows?
Generations. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's very. I remember when we first talked. One of the things that I was um, impressed by you, many things, but the idea of how you have taught yourself. I mean, yes, you've been your advocate, but you have figured things out, and you are walking that path that says, I'm just because either a doctor tells me this or has told me that, or even somebody else, I had to find out on my own what worked best for me and what is best for me. And that is, I mean, I know we've already talked about this, but that is such a, I feel like in some ways it's missing in our culture today, which is so weird because we're so independent and we're free thinkers and we're all this sort of stuff. But back to that idea of being responsible too, that in many ways seems to have gone by the wayside. And for myself, and I know I shared this with you earlier, that I have chosen to give up, and it wasn't painful, but I have chosen to give up most high carbohydrates, starchy carbohydrates, bread, crackers, rice, potatoes, any of that, um, because of what it does to my blood sugars. Doctors didn't tell me to do it.
But
Every once in a while, I don't know, my journey, remember my journey.
yeah,
I have things every once in a while, and you said it last time, like sometimes you just need to have something. And yes, I will do that when my body is saying, have a cracker right now. Put some cheese on it. You just need a little snack. Absolutely. I don't enter into that with guilt or shame or anything else. I go, I'm having a cracker right now. It is the overall picture that I chose to do this. And I go and have the things that I feel that I want and that my body is calling for at particular times. But it's just a general overall thing. And my point is that I believe everybody needs to be able to figure that out. Everybody needs to learn their body and to know their body well enough to do the things that you have done, to make the choices, and for myself as well. And not everybody's going to do the same thing. Not everybody has to be doing the same thing or agreeing even on what the right thing is, because we're all made differently. So
well, and like you're saying about the potatoes, whatever. Like I made a soup, and I knew the ingredients. Well, I thought I remembered the ingredients from the farm, right? Fresh vegetables brought to me from the farm. I'm like, why am I having a reaction? And so
right.
then I went, well, did I put lentils in it? No. And then I went, oh, I took a picture of like, thanks for the bounty from the farm. And I went back through my camera roll and I looked at all the stuff that was going on the trays in the oven. And I went, oh, freaking pumpkin. Can't eat pumpkin. Histamine. Because I'm like, but I made it. I know it's a homemade soup. I
Yeah.
didn't put crap in that I can't eat.
Right.
But I didn't know I couldn't eat pumpkin.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it's also about the potatoes too, right? It's like, okay, so I can't have white potatoes. Who cares? I can have sweet potatoes. I can have purple potatoes. I can have, okay, right? The white one's not so nice, but the other ones are great.
Yeah.
Looks a little strange, mashed purple potatoes, but that's okay. We're just
How do they taste?
brightening up the table, right?
That's right. A little bit more color. That's what we
So,
need.
hey, we gotta keep the laughter going somehow.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a huge fan. If you can't laugh at yourself, meaning, finding the joy, then boy, I don't know what is life worth if you can't find the joy in what you're
Well,
doing and who you are.
and as we're wrapping up here, like that's one of the reasons I asked for you to be on the podcast was because through all the trials and tribulations of health and blah blah blah, right? Like can't drive, gotta get rides, whatever. The joy that comes out of you is so infectious, right? Like it just like I'm like, oh yay, right? Because I'll be honest, I was coming into this podcast going, holy crap, I gotta keep talking more. Because I've been at networking since 8 o'clock this morning.
Oh my
And I'm
God.
just like whoosh. Like I've had little, breaks in, like 5 minute breaks in between. And I'm just like right
Yeah.
back at her. And so, but I was just like, oh yay, I get to finish with Annette. We're
Well,
gonna
thank you.
laugh, we're gonna have fun,
Yes,
right?
we are.
But
Yes.
the thing is not that we didn't tackle some heavy issues,
Yep.
right? But
Yep.
the underlying thing, be your own advocate.
Right. Absolutely.
And whether it's in the US, whether it's in Canada, whether it's somewhere else in the world,
Right.
find your tribe.
Right.
Your
Yes.
friends, healthcare, whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Listen to the
Absolutely.
body because it never lies. We get too busy to listen,
Right.
but it shuts us down if we don't.
If we don't, absolutely. We don't understand it and we don't listen. That's a bad combination.
Yeah. So, any final things that you want to share, or
Um, just thank you so much. I appreciate being able to be on here and to continue this conversation. I was telling all my friends and family about our first conversation. I go, this woman is wise in many ways. I love tapping into wise people who have experience, and I appreciate the shout out to my joy and enthusiasm, because that's just another aspect that I don't believe I would be where I am today, living independently and doing the things I want to do, if it weren't for the joy and the exuberance that I believe was designed in me. God created me to be this way, and so I'm just doing my best to live it out in the way that He has made it possible for me. So thank you again.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show, and yeah, till next time.
All right, take care.